Chapter 6 is the vaccines of mass distraction. We look at the data of what's happened with the vaccines and subsequently. I don't know of any official data that actually says or substantiates the claim that millions of lives were saved. There's no actual data that I can find in looking it up. I might have missed it. It might be there. If you know of it, show it to me. Not a speculation, not a, what do they call it? When they put a model together to see, not modeling, demonstrative figures to demonstrate. I cannot find any. No speculation unless it's about excess deaths or the vaccine saving lives. I'm sure they did, but where's the data? The 7th chapter discusses excess deaths. It's called an excess of idiocy. Then we look at dead canaries, limits on free speech, no news from the news, no news from the news, nothing, no stories. Harm to kids, no stories. Children being beaten at home because they aren't at school, and the abusers are at home with them all day, every day. And in South Africa, without booze and cigarettes, couldn't go to work. No story. Falling behind in school, 2 years of matrics, not enjoying matrics, not having farewells, not having first team rugby, not being prefects, none of that. The damage that caused socially, no story. The economy, no story. 7 million unemployed become 10 million unemployed, no story. Even when the figures get tweaked, which we discuss in the book. Chapter 9 is who's who in the zoo. We have a look at who the protagonists and the antagonists are. Potential antagonists are. Who's making the decisions? Who's pulling the strings? Where does their authority come from? And what are they doing now? We are called sheep, or others call people sheep. And I get really upset when I hear it, because I understand what people are trying to say. They say that the sheep are just following blindly what the authorities say. Fair enough. But we all follow blindly what we are taking in as truth, what we believe the reality to be. What we believe to be true, our worldview, is our shepherd, and we are sheep. All of us. We just have different shepherds. How good is yours? How much does your shepherd care for you? How good is your shepherd, I guess? Have you been devoured by the wolves and the lions and the cats and the dogs in the field because you followed blindly what you believed? We can ask that question to anybody on all sides of that fence. Sheep, we are all ostriches. We all do too, where we bury our heads in the sand because facing the reality of what we are being confronted with is too much to bear. We turn a blind eye to the things that we see that are wrong all the time. We all do this. This is not an accusation. I'm not pointing fingers at you. We've all done it. It's what we saw in the last 3 years. We buried our heads. We wore the masks. We even moaned at those that didn't. We accused people. We ignored what we knew. A doctor. You don't have to be a doctor to know this. I'm a father. Doc, my little 1.5-year-old boy is sitting in the sandpit eating sand. What should I do? Come on, parents, what does the doc say? Let him do it. They need the bugs. If they don't get those bugs, they're going to get much sicker later on. Yet we isolated, separated, quarantined, sanitized, masked, social distance, everything. And we see the backlash. We were sheep. We were ostriches. We buried our heads in the sand obediently until our heads were popped out, dragged out by our bottoms with our little rosy dozies in the air while our heads in the sand. Sometimes people got dragged out, they got pulled out and the head popped out. And then what was the response? Because there's only two responses there can be. The dog will roll over, or the dog will stand and fight. I saw very little standing and fighting. I rolled over. Will we do it again, is the question, because it's coming again, it seems. In the chapter 11, I lay out the idiocy theory. I look at all the aspects which demonstrates that not a single measure had benefit. The only thing that demonstrated any form of benefit was washing hands. We've known that since the Black Plague, when the nuns and those that worked in service of other people used to wash more often, and they didn't get as sick. We've known that since then. Sanitizing caused more damage than good. Masks caused more damage than good. Isolation, separation, quarantine of the healthy, yet we would put the sick in the same hospital as those who needed regular care. Mistake. After the idiocy theory, I want to cover, and I do cover, some of the origins of what might be called conspiracy theory. Not to call what this is a conspiracy theory, but why are there conspiracy theories? Why is there a lack of trust? And we have a look at it going back even thousands of years. We've been watching movies for years, and we're seeing it unfold today, good and bad. It's not all bad, but the good's unfolding as well as the bad. We've seen true stories made of evil people doing bad things and being caught and caught out. We know that it happens. In this, before I end on 12, what I have noted, and this is anecdotal, it's entirely anecdotal. There are generally two groups of people in one sphere. Some people who believe that man is inherently good, and others, let me not say believes, let's say people who understand man to be inherently good, and others who understand man to not be inherently good. Those who understand mankind not to be inherently good, we have to work at trying to be good, are the ones who are questioning the narrative and the status quo. Fair enough, it makes sense. Those that understand humanity or man to be inherently good, firstly, are seen to be the same people who perceive humanity to be a cancer on the planet. That's incoherent. They adhere to the idea. Secondly, are those same people, it seems to me, as I said, this is anecdotal, they seem to be the same people who are willing to cast others out of society for not adhering to the idiocy presented to us all. If you don't want to wear the mask, you deserve to be cast out of society. If you don't want, then you must suffer the consequences. But I thought you were inherently good. That's not very good. It's incoherent. And those that understand that we aren't inherently good are the ones who've had the grace fathers and tried to fight for civil liberties, rights, and freedoms. I discuss what I call the Thanos complex. Thanos was the character in the Marvel movie who wanted to click his fingers to destroy half of life in the universe in order to save life in the universe. Sounds like a really good idea to some. It's evil. Yet you can see the merit in it, because at least you're saving the universe. Everybody who's ever born, right up until now, is either dead or going to die soon. You can't save anyone. We're all dead anyway. Yet he will separate himself from his own humanity in order to destroy half of humanity. To save humanity, it's the inherently good types who seem to adhere to that. anecdotally. My final paragraph, chapter of the book is just called, it's a finale, it's called A Worthy Response. Whether it's not incidental, almost nothing has been incidental, everything has either been accidental or malevolent. We can't prove malevolence. Doesn't matter, destruction is on its way. And what do? What is a worthy response to know what we might be in store for? Please God, we're not. What happens if it does come? Accidentally. Bad decisions. No one really to blame for doing it deliberately. Everybody with good intentions, yet we are plunged into hell. What is then a worthy response? I don't have the complete answer, but I have attempted to put something down for us to try and find a way to survive. No, to not become rulers of hell. My name is Dean Haystack, and I'm just a guy who gives a damn.